So I've been playing this game for around 3 hours now. I'm level 4. I've explored a little bit of the world that we get into right now. That's a little bit limited because it's obviously an alpha. But let's start with the positives. Okay, let's get straight to the point. I like the genre. I think the idea of having like more of a sandboxy approach and just getting dropped somewhere, I need to figure out how to survive, how to do damage, how to craft food, all of that stuff. I do like that. The game doesn't hold your hand, and I do enjoy that. Graphically, it also looks very nice, as you can see. I do think this is pretty polished. It's obviously a little bit more stylized. And this is, by the way, not even max graphics, so it looks very nice, I think. But that's kind of where the good things end. As I just said, this is more of a sandbox game, and although it's, well, it looks like a sandbox game, it's not really a sandbox game. Because as you can see, I'm in a wheat field right now. And there's a couple quests, for example, for example, the first cooking quest is you need to collect wheat seeds to make bread. Makes sense, right? So as you can see right now, I'm in the middle of a wheat field. And I cannot interact with anything. I cannot gather wheat. There's no such a thing as wheat gathering. I cannot gather a tree. Only very specific blue trees you can gather. So for a sandbox game, I feel like this is very dysfunctional. So I'm in the middle of a wheat field, and the only thing I can interact with is a barrel of onions. So you're like in the middle of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the wheat field to get wheat for my bread. So you're in the middle of the wheat field and you can't get wheat. You're literally surrounded with wheat, and you can't, like, for a sandbox game, I feel like you need a lot more interactability. Like, it makes no sense that I can't chop down this tree. It makes no sense that I can't gather this wheat. Just very weird. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Or like, here's a barrel of cabbages, another barrel of onions, and you basically need to find a sack that is filled with wheat to get wheat. Like, you're going into a wheat field to look for a sack that has wheat in it instead of gathering the wheat, you know? It makes no fucking sense to me. The quests are mostly very, well, traditional, so nothing crazy about them, really. The combat, maybe I can find a couple of mobs real quick somewhere. This is a sentinel that's friendly. I can't attack that one. Combat feels like scuffed League of Legends. Like, if League of Legends was much slower and a little bit more unimpactful, this would probably be the closest I can say. As you can see, I've been walking around here and I haven't found anything yet. The world is really big. You walk a lot. And as you can also see, I have not regenerated anything. So what you have to do is you need to craft campfires. Or you go to a town for a campfire. And you sit down next to the campfire and it slowly heals you. As you can see. Now, to optimize that more, you can also eat food while you sit at the campfire, which is more efficient. So you can eat a bread that you craft, and this to make this go a lot faster. And it requires a lot of crafting. And also, if you fight monsters at your level, you will need to do this after like every third mob, unless you have a healer with you, right? So the regeneration stuff is incredibly fucking annoying. And I'm someone that likes slower games generally. But having to go back to town or having to go back to crafting a campfire after literally killing like 1 or 2 mobs is fucking crazy. Okay? Here's the combat. Although I have really good gear now, at least, well, because I bought a lot of artifacts, as you can see. My health is actually pretty high now, so I don't have to do it after every mob. But if I had to pull more than 1 or 2 mobs here, I would definitely need to heal again. Yeah, then we saw 1 mob here. Again, the combat, I will get a little bit more, and I could probably also show you my oh, here we go. There's a couple more mobs that are lower level than me, so they should be significantly easier. There's also classes. Apparently we have 3 classes right now. As you can see, my health is already quite low. The sound is really loud, but... And here's my identity ability, or whatever you want to call it. I should probably lower that a little bit just because it's blowing out my ears. I'm low health now after 3 mobs that were lower level than me, right? So I have to again put down a campfire, sit there, and then eat. So again, I've been sitting here now for what? Almost 60 seconds, and my health isn't even full yet. So if you don't have food with you that's crafted, which is much better than the food that you find, 3 times better, if not more, and my bonfire is gone now. I need to put another one down because I didn't eat during it. Like, just getting back to fighting and actually playing the game takes a long time. And even finding things that you want to do is not very easy. So, yeah, I think that's the the main problems right now is it takes way too long to regen. It's way too much effort to regen. And the world is not very interactable for a sandbox game. Which also doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? Like, those 2 things are, I think, the biggest issues. And then we can maybe talk about the combat. You know, we're still early game, so although I don't think the combat is gonna get much better, it's also a little bit questionable. So as of right now, which is this is obviously still an alpha, but as of right now, I would not really say or recommend to play this game. Right now, it just feels like a very scuffed sandbox MMO that has very obvious problems that are also very easily fixable. But because of that, I'm more worried about it, because if you are developing a game for a long time and it has such glaring problems that are very easily fixable, then why aren't they fixed already? You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know. Those 2 things especially are very annoying, and also the world, although it's very big, you know, we can't even explore that much. So overall, everything is very wide and expansive. There's very little within it. There's very little things in the world. It feels almost empty most of the time. And even if you see some, like, you know, as you can see some out of the ordinary things laying around, you can't interact with them most of the time, you know? I found a pipe finally. That took a long time. I need that for one of the quests. Yeah, I wouldn't really recommend this game right now. It's not really a game yet, is what I would say. I think this game needs another 3, 4, maybe more years in the oven until it's actually like a legitimate MMO, because right now it doesn't feel like it. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Quick review. Thank you. Peace.